Hey guys, and welcome to another jungle tier list video. I didn't mention this in the last video, but these tier lists are mostly for gold and higher elos, so don't expect to get rankings on champions like Mumu, Udyr, Volibear. Those champions are not featured in this patch noting, so without further ado, let's begin. Different to the last video, junglers will be placed into two different categories, carnivores and omnivores. So these two categories kind of speak for themselves. Carnivores rely on champion kills and pressure, while omnivores will rely on power farming and cleaning up free kills in early game. Omnivores also tend to be tankier, while carnivores try to skirmish the other junglers and look for team fights. Alright, so for the S plus tier, we only have one champion, and I think we all know who it is. It's Graves. So he pretty much does everything a jungler wants to do, and he pretty much fits into both categories. So he's both a carnivore and an omnivore. He can power farm, he can fight, he can do pretty much everything a jungler wants to do, but better than everyone else. So at level 3, you know how Elise and all those champions come to question being like the strongest level 3 duelists, but if Graves can play properly, then he will pretty much outclass any champion level 3 with his massive AoE spells, with his single target burst, with his range, with his auto attack reset. He's pretty much literally the perfect champion right now. For the S tier, as far as carnivores go, we have Elise, Shaco, and Rengar. So I know there's a lot of controversy regarding Rengar because he's pretty much picked every game competitive. It's like Graves versus Rengar every game in NA, but he's honestly not that great in my opinion for solo queue because you rely on team coordination as far as solo queue goes, and you know how that goes. No one knows what they're doing. No one on the same page, but yeah, he does have the same burst damage. He lost some range, and he's less tankier, but overall, he's still S tier in my opinion, not quite S plus. Alright, so going back, Shaco is also a very good champion right now. I'm sure you're all aware that we had two Shaco 1-tricks in the top 10 of the ladder, and those people were Beautiful Korean and Chase. I believe they go Machete, and then they go into Tiamat, Trinity Force, and then they get like Dead Man's Plate or Maw into Titanic. So this new setup on Shaco is pretty good, and it makes him pretty strong throughout the entire game. And Shaco's clear is pretty much unaffected. You don't need like your upgraded jungle item because he has boxes, and Smite is good enough. And honestly, another thing we can take into consideration is the fact that Panzer Dragon has never played Shaco in his life. In his recent video, he played 2 games and he literally carried them because of how broken Shaco is. And I feel like if you know how to play the champion, at a certain point you'll be able to carry games easily. And finally, the last S carnivore on our list is Elise. So as we're all familiar, she's probably one of the only early game junglers that didn't get nerfed. Kazakhs, Rengar, Lee Sin, all those champions have somewhat diminished in win rate and pick rate because they got somewhat nerfed, but Elise is still up there. Like, she can still deal anyone level 3, except perhaps Graves if he gets outplayed. But as far as, you know, clearing, ganking, the Moby Boot Rush, she's pretty much still an S tier to me. For our omnivores in the S tier, our first candidate is Hecarim, second candidate is Ivern, and third is Nunu. So we'll go back again, and obviously with the new keystone, Nunu has seen he's seen more play. I think his win rate was even decent despite not being able to have reliable keystone, but now that he has one, he excels pretty much at all stages of the game. Late game, he's like a support, kind of like an Ivern. He just wants some blood bows, ADC. But early game, you can get turrets and objectives quickly because he has to consume, and you know, with blood boil, you pretty much have an AD carry and a half, so that helps too. Alright, Ivern, pretty much same concept with Nunu. He can just press E, he makes another champion pretty much just excel more. And there's a reason Ivern has a 57% win rate, because the champion just borderline broken as far as solo queue goes. You can just drop your ult, dive at anyone, and then have your Daisy tank it. And finally, our last candidate is Hecarim. So Hecarim dropped from S+. I think he's S tier now because, you know, the heavy scalers such as Ivern, Nunu, all these champions are coming back into play. And I feel like he does less against those champions. So unless you can snowball early game, and that's not really what Hecarim's goal is, you'll need to like have a massive lead on your lane, say able to win on Hecarim late game now. For our carnivores in the A tier, we have Kazakhs, Warwick, and Lee Sin. All these champions I've gone over in the last patches, and they're pretty much the same. They're They're good, but they're not great. So they can carry games, but they can also be extremely irrelevant late game. I think Warwick has a better late game than Elise and Kazakh though. For our omnivores in the A tier, we have Zach, Olaf, Gragas. So most people have started seeing Influx and Gragas play, and there's basically a new build setup where you do not go Runic Echoes. You go Cinderhulk, Iceborne Gauntlet, and then pretty much full tank. So you'll get Spirit Visage, blah blah blah. You have 40% CDR, you'll do so much base damage, and you'll be essentially more tanky. Just you'll have no movement speed from your jungle item and doing less damage. Alright, for our B tier as far as carnivores go, we have Nidalee, Kindred, and Evelyn. So obviously Kindred got her buff in this patch, but she's still not on page with Gragas. So that's why you're seeing Gragas played in competitive rather than Kindred. So she could still be working solo queue. Like, she has really good objective control, she has really fast Barons and Dragons, but she's just not the same champion pretty much. Nidalee is also not that great, but champs like Nidalee and Evelyn can still work depending on your playstyle. If you have low mechanical skill, then you can perhaps give them a try. Alright, finally for our omnivores in the B tier, we have Rek'Sai, Vi, Nocturne. So as you're familiar, we're not seeing much Rek'Sai anymore, and that's because she's been nerfed so many times, but she's still okay. If you don't know how to play jungle that well and you want to just build tank, then Rek'Sai can work. Vi has gotten a little nerf. I'm not sure why she even got nerfed in the first, but like, she's not even that good. I'm assuming in lower elo she can work. And then Nocturne he has like a lot of split push potential, and he's just overall, he was always a good champion for solo queue for lower elos. Just once it gets to high elo, then he becomes less relevant and people know how to play against it. Let me know if you guys appreciate this kind of video by leaving a like. So I suppose making two different categories might help some people as far as their play styles, because I have most people asking me like, what jungler do I play? Do I play this? Do I play that? But like, I think these two categories will help you defer what kind of situation you're put in and what you want to play and what your play style is. So I hope this video helps you guys out and makes you a better player and potentially makes you climb. So if you want to leave a like, that will be great, and thank you guys so much. Much love. Have a nice day.